Welcome back, guys. It is Kibla from the Brothers Geek Out podcast, and today we're going to be talking to Charles. Charles, thank you for making the time for me, man. Good friend of mine, and we're going to talk about Wakanda Forever.
Let's get it, man. This has been coming for a while. This conversation, you and I. So
yes, no, definitely. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm happy. You bring that type of the world for my side, but even for the listeners that listen to the podcast as well. I always bring on people that are, from all different lives and all different industries. But the one main thing that the listeners keep listening on is that the diversity that we bring to the podcast as well. And speaking to general everyday folk, like it's not about the big people, it helps. But the everyday people that go through their everyday struggles, and me and my brother. I mean, that was the one thing that connected me and my brother on the podcast was when he moved to Hong Kong 8 years ago. And with distance, you just tend not to call that person as much or make that time as much. The time zones are different, and that's how the podcast was born. Because every Sunday we pick a time, making sure that it aligns with his time in, and we spoke, but we didn't talk about our family things. We talk about what we've been watching, what we've been reading, what's been inspiring us. And I'm glad that the listeners have taken it on. And as always, massive love to everybody who listens in, who watches our pretty faces on YouTube and the rest of it. But me and Charles, we're going to break it down. We in the past week we watched Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and I want to get Charles's thoughts, because I like the way Charles thinks, and in our everyday conversations, he always brings a different aspect to how he sees the world as well and what he does. So, I mean, Charles, take it, bro. I mean, what was your thoughts when you came out of the cinema, bro?
first of all, my thoughts are dangerous. They might get me in trouble, but I guess that's why you brought me on here.
Yeah.
No, it was a very necessary movie. It communicated so many things, like you and I have spoken about. So I'm Zimbabwean. I come from Southern Africa. Very proud of being an African born and bred individual. And what's sort of, I guess, what's led to us having such a deep connection, you and I, outside of work, is I've worked in positions where I'm in the room with decision makers, big companies, but talking about how conversations around inclusion and diversity. Right, now that that's been said, Wakanda Forever, man, it felt like the door that we've been trying to not knock on, but remove from the hinges. That door is finally starting to give way, because The Little Mermaid, Wakanda Forever, what's the one with Pocahontas? We can only count on two hands the amount of films, cartoons, where our people, and I'm not talking black, brown, I'm talking our people, just our people, are represented, and not in a cliche way. And I want to emphasize on that, because like you and I spoke about, you've got movies where they're talking about Egyptians. It's not an Egyptian person leading that film. So for me, Wakanda Forever brought that diversity in the cast. And unfortunately, we're gonna have to do a few spoilers if you haven't watched this. The film, you're listening to this. it brought, and we spoke about this. It brought about how we're connected. We're not connected by where we come from in terms of geographically. We're connected as human beings.
That's right.
If you missed that in the film, you need to go back and watch it 2 more times.
Exactly.
Because there were points, man, where Shuri, through her gift of technology and understanding science, she used the devices to connect. Army General didn't have any of those devices. She connected because she understood
Mm.
that it's oh, okay, so they come from there. We've got that language. They didn't have full-on sentences, but it was bits and pieces,
Hmm.
and they could communicate, they could articulate. You're that warrior. Okay, cool. I'm a man, you're a woman, but the language brought us together. Your fight skills matching up mine. So gender is out the door. This is about combat.
Mm.
And she survived, right? When everyone else is being dashed.
Yeah.
So there's so many things, bro. It was perfect homage to Chadwick.
Mm.
Um, it was an amazing introduction
Mm.
to the underwater palace and kingdom
Hmm.
with Tolucan.
Yep.
If I pronounced that wrong, I'm really sorry, but it was a massive gateway to understanding that we're connected regardless where we come from, but also Shuri being taken to the underwater kingdom and seeing how beautiful that was and her linking that to where she came from,
Mm.
Wakanda. For me, man, that was okay. I get it. I get it. We're linked in more ways than just food,
Mm.
language. There's a deeper meaning. So it hit home.
That's amazing because I've had several conversations about this movie already and to different people, and your take so far has has astonished me because not many people would see that, but I would see that because I'm coming at it every direction. I'm always waiting to hear other people's like opinions on it, but the deep meaning of it, that we are all connected. A lot of people, as you said, would probably go past that, bro. Because a lot of people that have gone to watch it, it's like, oh man, it's not got the action I want. It ain't got that. It ain't got this. And it's like, I know most of us MCU fans have gone in to see uh, the continued story of Wakanda, but this gave us more than that.
Yeah.
And I think what Ryan Coogler does as a director, he's astonishing that he got to do what he did in a mainstream big budget movie and connect to people on a different level. And I know this movie was a perfect homage to Chadwick Boseman and his legacy of what he did. And that guy made me feel like I lost a brother as well, which absolutely destroyed me, bro. Because us knowing we've got brothers, we've got sisters, and our deeper connection in family, whether we have our misunderstandings, they are still blood related. That that hurt, man. He made me feel that, and that's amazing. That somebody can pull that out and to do it on a scale like this, on a movie like this, because we've got so many movies that independent movies that will explain our culture, our religion, our people, and where we come from, and how we're all connected. But to get to have that as a multi-billion franchise, you're right. The hinges are going to bust off that door, and we're going to see so much more coming ahead. And we need to take that step forward in supporting stuff like that as well. And I find it hard because there are some people where they don't want to back it,
Yep.
but everybody's eyes will open up in different ways.
100%, man. And I think there's a couple of questions I would ask people who missed the messaging.
Hmm.
Um, and it would start off with, okay, so why'd you go watch the film? What happened in Black Panther that led you to want to watch Wakanda Forever?
Hmm.
And if that was just you came for the fights were there. The fights were there from
Hmm.
a technology standpoint. The fights were there from an emotional standpoint
Yeah.
within families,
Hmm.
within, you know, um, in the UN. The fights were there.
Yeah.
What did you actually, or was it this film had a level of intelligence that you missed? And I'm not calling anyone um that they've got low intelligence. What I mean by that is if you take a step back and put on the lens of as the scenes are playing out, what message was trying to be delivered here?
Hmm.
That's
That's
what
right.
I mean. Because it wasn't, yes, they kept using the word colonizer. Yes, they specifically spoke about the French.
Mm.
Neither of us are politicians, so we don't need to get into that.
No.
But the message for me, in my opinion, was you need to start standing for your people.
Mm.
This is not talking about Black people just stand for Black people, Indians as no,
Mm.
take that out the conversation. This is if you are a united people in your own capacity, you need to start standing with your people.
Mm.
Stop being so consumed and worried about what's happening next door. Because if Wakanda and Atlantis were overly concerned, vibranium would have been distributed for monetary reasons and losing the fact that vibranium was more valuable than any currency.
Mm-hmm.
Atlantis, Tolokan's
Mm.
realm, them going to Wakanda, and that link, it wasn't we're overly concerned with what the rest of the world are doing. It
Mm-hmm.
was you and I have this shared resource.
That's right.
You and I need to look after each other because we're again linked in a deeper sense than I guess at that point in the film than they realized.
Mm-hmm.
So it's if we're not looking out for each other in the two different kingdoms, we'll get overrun and consumed by what the rest of the world is doing. The
Mm-hmm.
world will consume you, bro. You and I have this
Yeah.
conversation all the time. If you are not harnessing it, and this is what again I always say to you,
Mm.
you're gifted. Like you've been blessed
Thank
with
you, bro.
a lot of talents that many of us will can only dream of. So realizing that they were able to not only defend themselves, but they hashed out their issues, one without the rest of the world being as aware as they may have been,
That's right.
but
Yeah.
two, they hashed out their issues and their leaders didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
Shuri survived. Tolokan survived.
Yeah.
And again, deeper message. You don't have to kill somebody else's leader because if Shuri had died,
Mm.
that would have destroyed the plot because
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
there's a bloodline and all that, but they showed mercy has more strength when it
Mm.
comes to building bridges than dashing somebody else's leader. And
Yeah.
now you're saying, well, we're stronger than you. Now what? Because all you're doing is generational curses, generational
Yeah.
wars.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
right.
it
It's so
was,
true.
man, it was powerful, man. It still hits.
Yeah. 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 It's so, bro. It's wicked, bro. I gotta get you on the podcast more often, bro, because you'll give a different aspect to people that haven't seen it in that sort of way because they would go see it as an action movie. I remind people, and if you haven't seen it, we've probably spoiled a lot of it. Is this is a movie that you don't even actually see the Black Panther to the actual third bit of the movie, the
Yeah.
third act, the third act, the third act. That's I remember coming out the cinema and I was telling my friend, bro, I know it had the name Black Panther on it, but that movie was, it didn't have the Black Panther till the last scene, and that's powerful that you can make a movie like this, carry the message that it carries, and yes, please, because it's got to have the fan pleasing moments, and you got to put. I mean, as a fan, I was pleased, bro, but because I was already in a process of, phase 4 has been about loss and grief.
Yeah.
So and this movie, I think, was it more important was I think what Chadwick has done is because they mixed that reality into fantasy. I think what Chadwick did in his journey, bro, like, I mean, hearing of his passing was heartbreaking. I remember, before he was cast as Black Panther, he was in a film with Harrison Ford called 42, where he played Jackie Robinson. Yeah. That film is amazing. And his performance, bro, I was like, this guy, when I see him in his next movie, because he was like, for me, he was like the next Denzel, bro. I was like, his range is sick. That movie was brilliant. And then when he did a few other movies, and then he came as the Then they casted him as T'Challa, and I was like over the moon, bro, because I was like, you've picked probably the person who's got the best range in acting at the moment to do that. But it's not even that. What he did as a human being as well, bro, man. Like that's I can never complain about something, and it's hard because as human beings we complain, bro. That's what we do,
Yeah.
bro. But my guy didn't say anything. Only his closest knew. Nobody knew, bro. My man was still working while he was struggling. That's inspiring
Right.
in itself, bro. That is
Yeah, man.
integrity to another level, bro. That yes, I'm suffering, but I'm gonna still put out this work. That guy's name will go on forever, bro. My kids will know about it. Their kids will know about that because we do, as human beings, have that notion of complaining about the littlest things. We could be stuck in traffic for 3 hours, but that's just an automatic thing. Man, such a big thing to carry, man, and the fact that he continued. He was like, no, man, I'm gonna
Exactly.
do this. And he did loads of movies after while he was suffering, and you know wow, heartbreaking, bro. Still gets me, man. Still gets me. I remember when my brother told me, I was like, oh man, not him, man. He's one of the greats, bro. Not one of the
Exactly.
greats. So like the tribute in this when I came out, bro, being a father, and I've got soft in my old age, bro. I was balling in the cinema, bro. That first 10 minutes destroyed me, bro. I was like, how are you doing this to me? Like there's I think I can count. Actually, you know what? The one movie that first gave me tears was Michael Duncan as John Kofi in The Green Mile.
Oh,
And
come
when
on.
he drops that line, uh, he killed them with their love. And I was instantly gone, bro. I was instantly gone. People will never, people are always going to be afraid of things they don't understand. I think that's what I took away from that movie. But Michael Duncan's performance in that film was absolutely amazing. So that was the one that did it for me. And to this day, bro, that film still gets me now. And then this one, bro, ugh, the last bit about letting go, and that's probably one of the hardest things. I mean, I lost my best friend coming on 10 years now, and the hardest part of that journey is it's not letting go but coming to peace with uh the his death. And again,
Yeah.
so uncalled for, and he passed from stomach ulcers. He was 30, bro, 31, 32 years old, still young. I just saw him a couple of days before it happened, and it was. I've never come to peace with it. I've always
Mhm.
beaten myself up, thinking I wasn't there enough. I didn't say enough. Uh, I pray when I do pray. I pray that He forgives me for anything I said or done wrong. But my wife always says, there has to come a point, and what Shuri got to do in that last bit with the robe and the letting go part, that it just got me straight away. And Chadwick's smile, bro. The guy's got a brilliant smile. They showed that little clip. I was like, please, why are you doing this to me, man? But he made people grieve, and I love the fact they were able to do that because, you mix reality and fantasy, you bring it out, and you do it in such a beautiful way, bro. Even the soundtrack, bro. It's on repeat. It's on repeat.
It has to be. It has to be. And you I guess you touched on the biggest messaging there, which is um it's not letting go.
Mm,
It's what are you taking away from that,
mm,
that individual no longer physically being here?
mm,
And I guess we live in a very fortunate time because technology allows us to capture something
mm,
and it will forever be there. You can still have pieces of Chadwick in
mm.
film,
That's
you
right.
know,
That's right.
and still hear him, still see him. I feel for the people who didn't have that,
Mm,
but there's something very powerful in being able to gain strength from a sad situation because you
mm-hmm,
then turn it from a weakness to an advantage. You think of T'Challa you're no longer sad, you're now motivated. You think of, like you said, they were in production doing stunts and he was dying. So when we're complaining about fuel prices, cost of living, and everything else, and not saying that those things aren't
No,
valid things to be
that's right.
concerned about,
Mm,
but if you're still awake, you've still got a job, you still got somewhere to call home, you still got somebody who cares about you, even if you don't have any of those things, you were allowed, and this is my personal belief, you're
mm,
allowed to wake up. If you're allowed to wake up, and you can't wake yourself up, you're allowed to wake up, which means you still have an opportunity that day to do something different,
mm.
to make your life better in a different way.
That's right.
So we have no excuse to be ungrateful. We have no excuse to complain. You're allowed to mourn,
Hmm.
allowed to be empathetic, and you're allowed to be sad.
Yeah.
But I think with the way things are going now, with what Chadwick's done,
Hmm.
everything he gave in that,
Mm.
me personally, man, I won't allow myself to be consumed by a situation. I won't, because once you're in that, mentally, once you're in that, time keeps moving. And if
Mm.
you're allowing yourself to stay in that moment, you're now missing out several moments in real time that could have changed somebody else's life or your own life or your daughter, you know.
Yeah, yeah, no,
So
of course, of course. We could. That's the word you use there, bro. Consume, because if you remember Chadwick saying it in Civil War to Baron Zemo, because we've consumed the self with violence. Sorry, with vengeance, and then the Shuri said it as well. And it's something liberating about that because we all carry some sort of consumption that we take too much of and consume ourselves with it, and realize, oh man, you know what? I sh- why am I angry over that little thing?
yeah,
You know, bro, pure example. Today, I went to the garden. I got this little box where I keep all my electronic devices, like not like garden cutters and stuff like that. The box is broken. I got so angry trying to fix the box, I broke it even more, bro. Then my wife's looking out the window, thinking, "You crazy fool." And then in that moment, I'm like, "Oh man, just breathe." Like you consume yourself in anger, you consume yourself in a lot of things, and we take it for granted as well, bro. And as you said, those little moments is it's just a moment. You need to
yeah,
go past that and see the bigger picture. And I think the movie does that really well, bro. The movie does that really well. I mean, Talukan and Namor. Let me pronounce that properly. Namor was amazing because I'm kind of so happy that the fact that they made that decision of bringing this culture that not many people know about, and it's blowing up, bro. And like it should have been from the beginning because when they start talking about what happened back then in that
mhm,
time, you're
yeah,
like, not many people know about this. So Kevin Feige as a producer must know something, like he's doing something well there to start being a bit more out there and making decisions on we're going to put a bit of real life history into these things, even though it's in a fantasy story, but put it in there. But the fact that they did the whole swap for it's not Atlantis and it's not a white guy. Was I give them props to do
yeah,
that because it's hard enough. I know, and a lot of people complain, it's changing, and the women and the rest of it, and I'm like, man, you just don't know what it was like back then. You know what I mean?
exactly. And for the people who say or are frustrated with the
Mm,
change, everything changes. Technology changes.
mhm,
Fashion changes. The car you love to drive,
mm,
if they hadn't changed something, you wouldn't be driving it. You'd be still riding a bicycle, or
exactly.
there's so many things. And from the culture aspect, I think that's the aspect, that's the thing that then allows us to connect.
Mm,
Like you said, it's reality and fantasy, right? Um, with the cultural awareness
mhm,
piece. obviously they had historians through and through,
Yeah.
making sure every fact was as correct as possible. But because of that, can you imagine the amount of viewers that can now watch that and can now stomach opening their minds to Marvel?
Oh yeah, of
Because
course.
I think the thing that a lot of organizations, a lot of individuals aren't aware of, and this is something that I experienced when I
Mm.
came to the UK in 2011. One, an accent doesn't determine intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, Somebody else coming in and sharing their culture, and us now being able to watch a different culture on screen. The people from that culture, those people can now come in and say, I can now tolerate watching Thor. I can now tolerate watching Iron Man, because the people who are behind it, Marvel Studios, they're open to having representation
Mm-hmm.
with that umbrella.
Yeah.
So me coming to the UK was okay. Like I said, sitting at the table with decision makers, sitting at the table with some people who, again, I can only have dreamt to meet.
Mm.
Um, was okay, so I can actually do this.
Mm-hmm.
That, we've all seen the pictures and the memes of the kids watching The Little Mermaid and being like, Mommy, she looks like me.
Mm.
That is so pop. The book you did. People, unless you've always seen someone who looks like you will never understand what it feels like for the first time to see a superhero who looks like you. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
not about me believing I'm gonna jump out this window and fly, bro.
Yeah.
It's not about that.
No.
It's, you know what? When I go to work, there's now nothing stopping me from saying, hey, my idea is just as valid as
Mm-hmm.
dude there. Dude who
Yeah.
was born in this country, who looks like majority of you, my idea is just as valid, because you know what? Black Panther existed. Black
Mm-hmm.
Panther still exists. Black Panther allowed a black woman to be married to a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Again, people from the LGBTQ community will be like, well, Wakanda Forever or Black Panther never reflected their acceptance of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a tick box exercise.
No,
It's
no, no.
they're bringing in awareness that black women, they are gay black women.
Mm. That's right.
It and she fought. She is the new general.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think just because she's now gay that you can mess with her. She'll still
No.
kick your ass. She'll still wipe
But
you out.
the Dora Milaje are like my favorite thing at the moment. So like I did yesterday, I had a couple of hours. I got to sit down. I got because Okoye in and hopefully I pronounced that right. In Wakanda Forever, because in the first one she showed a lot of strength, bro. Uh, and her agility and her fighting style, the Dora Milaje is amazing. But bro, I do not want to see Okoye cry again, bro. That scene, even though Angela Bassett, she deserves an Oscar for that scene, because when she was saying, I lost everything, I was like, ah, man, heart palpitations. And then Okoye just had the tears. I was like, oh, man, bless this woman, man. Go on.
The general is Zimbabwean. Then
Oh,
I was like,
oh.
yes. When I found out that she was Zimbabwean, I was like,
Bro, you know what? Check out her interviews, because it's the most touching thing in the world, bro. Because when somebody asked her a question the other day about, what is it that you want, the little girls and boys to see when they see this, and she said, the representation. I didn't have this as a kid, and it teared me up, bro. Because it's powerful to hear that, because you said it as well the other day. You're like, Kibbs, man, you remind me of Namor. One of my
yeah,
friends said it the other day as well, and it was like, I know I'm not Latin American, but we got the same tone. And you know, that's amazing in itself because there is now a character that I could say, oh man, you know what? I could see myself in this dude.
Exactly. I think that the last I
Mm,
guess this is the last thing that I'll touch on when it comes to my people
mm,
was there's something so powerful, Kibbs.
mm,
As an African, I understand maybe three African languages.
mm,
I understood when they weren't speaking English. I don't know how to best explain that, but it's like having a Spanish character and you're from Spain or you're from Latin America
mm.
and they switch into speaking Spanish or Portuguese or German or whatever, and you understand it, and everyone else is like, oh man, I wish there was subtitles. And for me, I'm like,
That's amazing.
the script didn't ever change
Hmm.
because I understood, regardless of the language they were speaking, I understood the messaging, the words, the sentence throughout.
Hmm.
And my missus and I were actually just like, we need to start learning more African languages because if we're going to watch more
Hmm.
movies from Ryan, we need to be able to, be able to understand more. But again, it's that taking pride in where you're from. As an African, I need to actually start taking ownership in what other African languages can I learn?
Hmm.
Because when I'm here, I'm representing my people, you
Exactly.
know, and
Exactly.
nothing wrong with learning Spanish, French, German, but that's not where I'm from.
Exactly.
So I should actually be advocating for, I want to learn more African languages because let's diversify the UK or let's diversify where we work even more by saying, hey, we've got somebody who actually can speak that person's language. So, let's make this connection a lot deeper. So
Of course.
I wish we could talk for hours. We
No,
could
no, no.
talk.
Of course, bro. I'm not gonna because we've only got like 5 minutes left on here. But there's one thing that I'm gonna talk about the movie, and it was talking about, and it's exactly what you were saying, bro. You know, about pride of where you're coming from, but traditions. Growing up on this side of the world, me personally, coming, I'm born and raised here, bro. But I've only learnt more about my culture, my people in the past couple of years, a lot more. But there's certain things as I was growing up, I would say, I wouldn't take that on, but that's like that's my tradition. And this movie shows that because Shuri originally was like, I can't take on the mantle because I don't believe in those traditions, because she was more technology focused and scientifically focused. And I loved the fact that she accepted it because she earned it, bro.
Exactly.
She earned it. And Umbaku, oh, bro, he was amazing, bro.
All respect to
Winston Duke
that.
is just brilliant, and he from the first movie to how much he's grown now to be more of the big brother and the father
Yeah,
figure uh, was amazing because it shows so much more range in that character as well. Because now I want to see more of M'Baku. You know,
exactly.
that's exactly what I want to see. But tradition, bro, it was all about tradition and culture and taking it onto the next generation. And Shuri found that hard at the beginning, but I think she accepted that towards the end once she found out the herb, heart
The,
shaped herb.
the, so another point I hope people don't miss,
Mm,
and this is more so not just an African thing. Mbaku was from a slightly different generation, older.
mm-hmm,
He still backed her. When she decided, I'm gonna go to war, you're gonna see, he could have said, listen, girl, I'm
mm,
out.
mm,
You know, because he did that in the first in Black Panther.
yeah,
He was like, that's not our war.
mm-hmm,
He supported her. And when she came to the realization of peace and making connections, he was right. But he didn't force her as the older statesman to understand why he was right.
that's right.
And I think that's a big message when it comes to the older generation backing us because they may not understand the vision we can see
Mm,
because this is now turning into our world.
that's right.
But as the older generation, they've got the experience to understand the path that we're trying to take can be smoother if we partner with them and seek their counsel to make our final decision. So I just wanted to make sure that was, discussed.
No, no, of course,
Yeah.
man. Of course, it's definitely because, you know, we seek guidance, bro. We seek guidance. And sometimes they may not agree with us, but that it doesn't mean that they won't back us up, But she saw it in the end. She saw it.
Exactly.
She saw it. No, amazing. Charles, bro, massive thank you for joining me today, man. I know we'll catch up tomorrow.
Definitely.
Guys, uh, massive thank you again for everybody who joins in on the podcast. You guys are absolutely amazing. I want to say thank you for the recent boost in our socials because it's been absolutely amazing. We've had some amazing giveaways. I've got one more giveaway. So whoever comments on this video, I've got a Brothers Geek Out t-shirt. It's too far away to grab, or my headphones is going to come off. It's in purple. I'll post an image on our socials. Jump in the comment section and do your thing, guys. And I'll pick somebody out and I'll send it out to you guys. Doesn't matter where you are from the world.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. But bro, have a wonderful evening, man. Thank you so much again, bro.
You too, man. And this will not be the last.
No.
Next collaboration we do, we're gonna find something from my end to do a giveaway on. There's a lot of work I want to do with you. Again, if you don't know, Kibbs is a highly skilled and gifted individual. So we need to plug your stuff, and I'm gonna be your biggest supporter, advocate.
Oh man, thank you, bro. Thank you. But listen, not even that, bro. This guy is a drone pilot here. So yeah. All you filmsters, get in contact, definitely. But listen, as always, guys, massive thank you. I'm always grateful to be able to share our experiences with you guys. But throw in your questions for the next week podcast, guys. So we'll catch you up then. All right, bro. Charles, have a wonderful evening, bro. Take care, man.